Lisa.
We want to welcome you to the Be Encouraged Show, where each week we reach an audience of 45,000 potential listeners
And growing.
across our social platforms and guest networks. Our mission is simple yet profound: to spread hope and encouragement, connecting our audience with stories that uplift and inspire.
So whether you're a business owner looking to expand your reach or someone eager to share your journey of impact, our platform is designed to highlight the positive differences we can all make.
Getting involved with our show is easy and rewarding. First, you get to be a guest on this show. This is a fantastic opportunity for brand recognition as you share your story with our engaged listeners.
And Frank and I are now offering Q&A Mastermind monthly sessions. And these are not just informative experiences, but we actually help with your business on strategic insights and provide a supportive group setting.
Oh, yes, we do, don't we? And if you're looking to drive targeted lead generation, consider sponsoring our show. We offer multiple tiers and customizable options to fit your marketing needs perfectly.
We have had over 350 guests, and they have been able to brand themselves and share all the goodness that they are doing here in community.
And it's not just about numbers. Our approach opens up a space for vulnerability, helping our guests genuinely connect with audiences. This authentic interaction is a powerful catalyst for community and business growth. Take, for example, we have partners here at Be Encouraged, and since getting involved with our platform, they've seen a staggering 900% growth in just 7 months here in the Springs.
So if you're ready to make a significant impact, join us today at beencouraged.net.
And let's make the world a more hopeful and connected place, one story at a time. We are currently at Co Harbor, our studio sponsor, right?
So beautiful.
Oh, what a wonderful
Love
place. We get such great feedback about them and what they're doing. What's so great about Co Harbor?
Yes. So the owner, Jeremiah Callahan's just phenomenal. His attention to detail from the sound, from the aesthetics, he even got me a little microphone holder for our live Instagrams, Frank. I mean, just the attention to detail to service the business owners here who work out of here is phenomenal.
And what you always feel welcomed here. You always feel a part of this community. It's the most welcoming place that I've ever engaged. And we have some amazing people that work out of here as well.
We do. And they actually have a greeting host, which is incredible during their peak hours.
What an idea, right?
Yes. But some of the people working out of here, you just want to be here just to say hi to them. Like Chantel Bridges.
Ooh, and Melinda Joy Mingo.
Yes.
And our friend Tom
Carlson.
Yes, indeed. Wonderful people. And Lisa and I also engaged their facility in Denver called Co-working, which is a fantastic facility.
Gorgeous. Yes. And we have to do a huge shout out for Alan Briggs.
Yes.
He is our right-hand man, especially in this podcast studio. He has given us great wisdom and insight on how to use all the bougie stuff that they have in here.
The bougie stuff. Yeah.
It is. It's high end.
It is. It's wonderful. We're so blessed to be able to be here at Co Harbor. And you need to come in and do a 14-day free trial of this facility. Lisa, tell them a little bit about some of the great things that Co Harbor offers.
Yes. Well, their membership starts at $25 on up, and that gets them 24/7 access to a beautiful, gorgeous space. And not only that, Frank, you know what they have?
What?
Amazing pour-over coffee, which all of my friends love, and I love the tea. They have hot tea, and they have iced coffee, and they have sparkling water, all the things. It's so beautiful here, so come and check them out.
Well, come on down and join us at Corporate and Tech Center Drive. Beautiful location over here. You can't miss us. We're sponsored by the great Joshua Geary with Cressio. And Joshua just won Hispanic Rising Professional of the Year. Yay! He's been with us so long, and he is really produces and helps us with this show.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about Cressio.
Yes. So Cressio, they offer pay what you can consultations, and they specialize in not only just Chat GPT, but they will work with your business to help you get sustainable and then leave and leave you successful. Their goal is not to stay with you forever. Their goal is to keep you moving with excellence.
Indeed. And AI work, AI is the rage right now. Joshua is an expert in AI, and he and his team can help you navigate the sometimes scary road of AI and what's happening, and deliver work with you that you won't have to worry about all the myths about AI. They know how it works for you. And what I do love, Lisa, about Cressio is the pay what you can consultations to the underserved southeast sector of our city, reaching out and trying to help people.
Absolutely. So check them out at Cressio.com.
Indeed. We're sponsored by Brandon Kurt from Planet Duck.
Yes, he's the owner of Planet Duck, and he has the largest vacuums, strongest vacuums. And what is his slogan again, Frank?
Yeah, they're stronger than the vacuum of space. And Brandon and his family, with his 3 children, are just incredible. I know them personally.
Me too.
We've had a great opportunity to know them. He's a great family man. 25 years, been married to, what is his wife's name? Gava?
And she's a beautiful artist, and yes, they have an amazing farm as well.
They do. And he loves Star Wars. So if you're into that scene, give Brandon a call. He loves Star Wars, all things Star Wars-y.
Yes, not only that, but he loves the Colorado Springs. His give back throughout all local businesses in town is amazing, and we sure do appreciate him in town. They do have the strongest vacuums in Colorado,
Indeed.
Which will help you get amazing air quality for your home.
Indeed. They find all kinds of stuff in our vent systems. They've done my house as well, and so many of my friends.
Yep.
They really are the cream of the crop when it comes to duct cleaning.
They are.
And one last thing, many of you didn't know this, but Brandon has mentored many small business people in this community.
Yes.
His give back to our community is exceptional. So make sure to look them up because they are
stronger than the vacuum of space.
Yes, they are.
We are sponsored by the lovely, incredible Karen Butcher with WestCo Insurance.
Yes, Karen is an amazing insurance agent doing home, casualty, all these different types of insurance. And here's the deal. She has some of the same customers that she had when she started 24 years ago. They're still engaging her this many years later, which means she has to have some incredible customer service and some attentive skills. Right?
To include me.
And me.
She's helped me a lot over the years.
She's incredible.
So we really appreciate Karen Butcher and all the wisdom and savviness that she has in the insurance industry. So check her out, Karen Butcher, WestCo Insurance.
Please. Yeah, welcome to the Be Encouraged show with Frank.
And Lisa.
We're so glad that you join us on Mondays and align with us in our goal of infusing hope and encouragement throughout the world.
That's right. We are now offering 2 free guests on our show every single Monday from 11 to 12 or 12 to 1 Mountain Standard Time. But we also have an amazing new venture that we've started this year, Frank.
Indeed. We have the free hug campaign that's starting that Lisa and I are going to go out in community, offer free hugs. Hugs have medicinal value that's really, really strong, and we want to use that to help humans.
Absolutely. And we are also going around the world on live Instagrams. So our ask of you is, if you know of any amazing business owners out in other countries or across the nation, please introduce them to us at lisa@beencouraged.net.
Yeah, make sure that you email her. Yes, and she'll get it done for us, and we'll make sure that we highlight your business. You know, really the value of this is exposure. We get the opportunity to expose your business to our growing audience and get so that you can be seen and people can engage your business.
And we do offer sponsorship levels starting at $50 on up. So depending on how much marketing you have in your budget, we would love to help you get maximum exposure both on our website as well as our show.
Indeed. We love humans here at the Be Encouraged show. And the reason we exist is to create value for you.
The real value of sponsoring our show is joining us on our mission to infuse hope and encouragement throughout the world.
Aligning missional values is very important to us, and we are looking for businesses that align with us and our values and what we're trying to give out to the world.
Yes, this is about social impact,
Indeed.
Frank.
We know how important that is in this community and around the world. So join us in our mission to create social impact for your business. Hello, I'm Frank, and this is
Lisa.
We want to welcome you to the Be Encouraged show, where each week we reach an audience of 45,000 potential listeners
And growing.
across our social platforms and guest networks. Our mission is simple yet profound: to spread hope and encouragement, connecting our audience with stories that uplift and inspire.
So, whether you're a business owner looking to expand your reach or someone eager to share your journey,
Welcome, everyone, to the Be Encouraged show. If you can tell, I have bread in my mouth because, Cam, it's your fault.
It's her fault.
Yeah, you're so good. Who are you?
Yes. Hi, I'm Lisa Sinnott. Welcome to the Be Encouraged show.
We're so glad to have you guys here today on Motivation Monday. I'm trying to get to the place where I'm supposed to be, Lisa. How was your weekend?
It was fabulous. Thank you.
Yeah? Okay. You and John do anything crazy?
No, we went to that dinner.
Yeah.
That was it.
Saturday night with you. You were there.
Yeah. Okay.
That was it.
All right, nothing crazy, ladies. So we're going to get ready to have you on the show. Thank you for being in studio today. You guys are so awesome. As I mentioned, I'm Frank Sinclair with the wonderful and incredible Lisa Sennett. We provide a platform for entrepreneurs and community-focused individuals to expand their reach and create a positive impact here in Colorado Springs. Now, you're joining us live from Colorado Springs today with some superior guests.
Yes.
Not just great guests, but superior guests.
Because they fed us.
They fed us.
That answered him up big time.
If you want to join us internationally, go to our website and select International via Instagram to join us live from anywhere in the world.
So today's show is sponsored by Cressio, who offers to help social impact companies pay what you can consultations to increase your leads, among other things. So visit them at cressio.com to learn more and check out the flyer that we provide you guys later.
Indeed.
Thank you.
Pay what you can. I can't pay what you can consultation. I want to make sure we emphasize that.
Yeah.
Joshua Giddy and his great team are doing wonderful work for businesses around the world. So it's time, Lisa.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You got stuff in your mouth again? Are you chewing again?
I'm in heaven. Sorry, I have my sourdough bread. Okay, so the sourdough queen is in the house, and she's totally spoiled us. The beautiful Mrs. Kam Fletcher, owner of the Haphazard Sourdough Baker LLP. Is that supposed to be LLP?
Mm-hmm.
What
It's
is-
partnership.
Oh,
Set up,
interesting.
yeah.
Okay. So she teaches sourdough classes for all ages, including bread, pretzels, bagels, and pizza.
Oh, my.
And to her left is Miss Stacy Cowell.
Yeah, Cowell.
As a recent grad in Benedictine Spiritual Direction, she's starting her own practice to help others find hope and healing through a spiritual lens. Welcome, ladies.
Thank you.
Yeah, that is so
Good to be here.
awesome. Yeah, I'm a recovering pastor, so you know.
I didn't know
You
that.
didn't know that? Yes, yeah, I sure am. And it's been years since I've been actively in the pulpit and leading a church, but yeah.
Well, you've been in the pulpit a couple times already.
I
this year.
still speak in
Yeah,
churches
he does.
occasionally and
Sure.
stuff. Yeah.
He doesn't have the responsibility. of a
Hallelujah.
pastor.
Yeah, so Kam, we met at 1 Million Cups, and you are one incredible human, right? I know that. They don't. So I want you to tell people a little bit about who is this Kam Fletcher?
Okay. Just who I am?
Yes.
Okay.
Who you are.
Well, I've lived in Colorado Springs for 30 years. I'm from Los Angeles originally. My husband and I met there, and we've been married for almost 44 years. And as soon as we got married,
Wait a minute, that requires a stop and an applause.
44 years.
That
That's
is
amazing.
awesome, right? Yeah.
and as soon as we got married, we moved to Switzerland for him to teach in the international high school that he went to as a kid.
Oh, was he a
Okay.
military kid? Or?
No, Switzerland is not. They're a neutral country.
Okay.
Okay. No, his dad was in oil. I mean, he worked for Texaco.
Okay.
Okay, so that one piece right there explains a lot. I went because our international backgrounds are pretty big, and they're a big part of who we are.
Yeah.
I went to a French international school in Los Angeles, just like you take a school from France and put it there.
Wow.
It wasn't an immersion school like here, where it's part English. It's all French, okay, except for English and American history. So that's part of the reason we connected so well. And then we have 2 adult, they're not children. My son Dylan, who taught me how to make sourdough bread, he's going to be 41 in a week. 41, yes. And he is a professional chef and baker in Portland.
Oh.
And his partner, Des, is a professional pastry chef. And it's really a family-run business because everybody helps me. But he taught me 11 years ago how to make sourdough bread. And then my daughter, who lives in Iowa with my one and only perfect grandson, who also helps me because he's 5.5 and he's been baking with me since he was 1. And I post that online because my favorite classes, adults are okay, but my favorite classes are the kids. I just retired for part-time teaching in May and just do the sourdough classes now, but I love the little kid classes. So, and it's so much
Kids
fun.
are fun.
Yeah, they really are.
Yeah,
So-
I really like them when they live somewhere other than my house.
Well, yeah. If you only had one, you may not think
Is
that.
yours in your house?
No,
Oh,
not
okay,
at all.
good.
I would love to have him in my
You
house.
say that now.
Well, yeah, he is only 5.5.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, thank God my kids got the memo. Find your own house.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
But we did have him at Christmas, and it was crowded, to say the least. It was crowded.
Did my honesty get you?
It's good. It's true.
Right, yeah. Send them over if you want them spoiled and sugared up and amped up. I got you. Stacy Cowell. Yes, indeed. Tell us a little bit about you. Who are you?
Well, I started off as an Army brat. So my dad served in the Army, and I grew up moving multiple places, and both my parents are New Yorkers.
I'm sorry.
And
I was born in New York. Don't live in
I could live in Manhattan in 2 minutes.
I'm not. Like, I love, like, kind of just the mix of who my parents are and how they shaped me, too.
Yeah.
And so, and that piece of them being New Yorkers has shaped me in different ways, too. So it's been good. It's been good.
But you look way too nice to be shaped by New York.
Well, if you met my parents, you would
You know,
see.
I know I'm just making general statements, throwing the whole place under the bus, right? And there's nice people, but the way they deal with one another really, for a sensitive guy like me, is tough.
Well, they can be straight out very honest,
Yes.
right?
They say it to the point.
They can just let you know how things are. My family's also Puerto Rican, and so family's at the core.
Oh, yes.
And so no matter what you do, people believe in you. They have your back. They love you deeply. Like, I have been loved extravagantly
Aw.
by my parents.
That's amazing.
So, yes, like.
Wow.
So I would say like that just really shaped me. Like,
I
as far
take
as
it all
them being-
back.
I know, you should. She said extravagantly.
I know, right? I'm still waiting for some extravagant love.
Hey, and I can attest to that. I know her parents. They're amazing.
Are they local here?
No, I wish
No,
they
I
were.
wish. No, they live in Arizona.
Oh, okay.
So we were just with them for a few days last week.
How
Got
do
to
you
see
two
them.
know each other?
Oh gosh, we go way back.
Originally
like-
from our church.
Yes,
Yeah.
from our church, and then Cam is my son's godmother,
Oh,
one of my younger son's godmother, and then we were part of a book group years and years and years ago.
More than 20.
Yes.
Social justice book group.
Well, it came about by I came across this book
Yes.
called Compassionate Living. No, Simpler Living, Compassionate Lives, and it had a series of different articles, like all as a compilation from different writers and different topics. And so we saw this book, and my husband and I had this idea that we wanted to reach out to a bunch of friends and see if they'd be willing to meet for like 6 to 8 weeks to read the book. And so we sent out email to a bunch of people, and Cam and her husband Andy were some of the people that we sent the email out to. And a handful of people said, yes, we're in. And so they showed up at our house once a week, and we read the book, and we would discuss and talk about it.
You have to talk about the food.
And then we started adding food into it. But then at the end of the 8 weeks, then everyone looked at us and said, well, what's the next book? And we're like, oh.
We started the book club.
Yeah, exactly.
And then it evolved from that, and we got involved in different community organizations and helped out with ESL, teaching ESL in the community. And
Tell people
You
what
and your
ESL
husband,
is.
or
my husband was the teacher, and I
Okay.
was his assistant. It was a program through Catholic Charities,
Yeah.
I taught too.
and
What's
then Cam was the
ESL?
teacher.
Just for our audience.
Oh.
Well, there's a new name for it now. It used to be called English as second language, and that really, if you think about it, it's not true.
Mhm.
Because it could be their fourth language.
right?
Okay? So it's ELL now, English Language Learners.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. That's what it's called.
Right on.
Yeah.
Right on. All right. So you are married.
Yes. Yep. So I'm married. I've been married for 25 years.
Wow!
And-
Congratulations.
Thanks. Yes.
Yeah, silver anniversary.
Yep. So
Yeah.
we celebrated back in September, and now we have 2 boys. Our oldest just turned 16, and our youngest is 13.
Oh,
And
so you guys had some time together before you had babies.
we did. We had almost 10 years.
Wow.
awesome.
Yeah. So it really, and that journey shaped me as well, because a lot of my peers were having kids a lot earlier, and so we had a whole different journey towards parenthood, and so it had its whole roller coaster that came along with it. And
Yeah.
so
Was that intentional that you waited?
Or is that fertility?
It just
No.
happened.
yes, there was fertility pieces that were involved, and miscarriages, and then lots of unknowns and testing, and that kind of
Yeah.
shaped us as we walked that journey.
You know, I was so surprised that Colorado Springs did not have a fertility support group for women. I actually started it.
Oh, really?
Yes,
Yep.
I just started it with Mary Catherine. Do you know her, Mary Catherine
I don't.
Lavoisier? She's also an Army wife, active duty Army wife.
Okay.
But this city is huge, and there's no support group for the women.
Yes.
And no one, I'm a queen on resilience. So I love talking about resilience. And the thing about resilience is talking about what you don't want to talk about.
Yes.
And that's the one thing that people don't talk about is fertility issues. And it gets very awkward when people are like, are you going to have kids? Why don't you have kids? You should have kids. And really, they may have just lost a child, or they may be
Yes.
on their third
So
attempt, or
many things.
there's so much to that conversation.
Yes.
But they all just cringe and don't say anything. So, yeah, it's actually this Thursday. It's every first and third Thursday from 6 to 7 p.m. It's my give back to the city is for the women.
What a valuable gift, because I was involved in this moms group at our church, and then they needed some more leadership, and so I stepped into leadership with another friend. And one of the topics we visited was infertility, and we both shared our journeys. And then the women, like, all of a sudden it was like opening this door and almost like giving people permission, because when you share your story, that's a powerful thing,
So
right?
powerful. Yeah.
And then people hear your story, and then they also feel safe to share their stories.
Absolutely. It's
And
a Me Too moment.
It's a Me Too moment, absolutely.
Yeah.
And so then all of a sudden it just opened up people feeling safe to share their stories. And then slowly, I don't know how it evolved itself, but I had a season of life where even husbands would call and say, you know, we just had a miscarriage, and I don't know what to do. Can I bring my wife over? Or can we, we're at a real loss, and you've been walking this journey. Can we just come and talk with the two of you, like even my husband? And so anyway, I feel like that it's a very powerful thing,
It is.
because it's kind of kept in the shadows,
Yes.
and there can be shame that doesn't need to
It
be there,
doesn't need to be there.
but that we unfortunately put on,
Right.
and we can
And it's the
cloak ourselves
silence
in.
about it
And
that
there's the
puts
silence.
that weird stigma that makes them feel that
That's
way.
right.
Yeah, which is
Yeah.
crazy the way we stigmatize things,
Right?
isn't
That's
it?
right.
I mean, in humanity,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Mental illness and all these other things, and etc. It just create these barriers to healing,
That's right.
right? And yeah, it's sad. It really, you know, I could just sit and listen to you all day. And I
So
don't
could
know,
I.
yeah. I feel comforted.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have such a soothing voice and manner about you, my friend. I can tell you're in the right space, but before we go into that, we got to talk about some haphazard sourdough, right? Tell us about, first of all, unpack that name.
Okay, sure. No, the reason I called myself that is because I have made almost every mistake you can with my 2 basic recipes, and it still turns out. And I always tell people that because they get really hung up about, oh, I've got to feed the starter twice a day. No, you don't. I've got, all these things. They go, I can't do it. I just can't do this. And I tell them you can make mistakes and it still will turn out. Now, when you get in the more fancy things, it's a little harder to make mistakes.
Right.
But I want people to be assured that they can do it on their time and their schedule with their families. Because people also think I don't have time. There's one prerequisite. You do need to be a planner. You can't just wake up in the morning and say, I'm going to have bread for lunch. You have to feed the starter twice. There are things you have to do.
What is
but
a
that's
starter?
It.
What
The
does that
starter
mean?
is just flour and water. Well, I'll tell you how they think that it was discovered 8,000 years ago. Because obviously we didn't have internet 8,000 years ago.
Right.
Is someone just left out, because before that all they had was flatbread. Okay? They left out some flour and water in a warm environment, came back, and it's all bubbly. Because it got the bacteria from the air and it fed on the sugars in the starter, and they thought, let's put it in the bread. And all of a sudden their bread rose.
It's like yeast.
Yeah, it is wild
It's
yeast.
natural yeast.
It is wild yeast. And see, when you buy a loaf of bread, now, if it's not sourdough, and sometimes, well, that's another story. Because sometimes people say it's sourdough and it really isn't. Yeah, but if you buy a loaf of bread, there are going to be 30 ingredients. My bread has 3.
Really?
Yes, and it's so much better. It's so much healthier. Diabetics can have sourdough bread. Because now this is white sourdough bread, but whole wheat sourdough bread, not even 100%, is 35% on the glycemic index. That is considered a low glycemic food. Where if you get white bread from the market, it's 85 on the scale. It also absorbs vitamins better, even with the food you're eating. It absorbs them better into your body. It is really, and we're not even talking about our gut and gut health because it's a probiotic.
That's why I like it.
It's really good for you. You won't feel bloated.
No.
It's just, and it's the way I teach it. I want people to learn how to make it and to go home and make it. Not just have a fun party, a fun class, but to actually do it.
So your third ingredient, is it salt?
Well, yeah.
Okay.
Flour, water. And it's really, it's flour, water, and then wild yeast, but that is flour, water, bacteria, and the salt.
Nice.
Yeah.
Could you tell she was excited about it?
I love it.
Yeah, Cam's whole voice rises.
Well, it's so much fun. And the reason I started doing it is it was during COVID. We didn't feel at the very beginning my husband should work because of his asthma and stuff. And plus, he teaches and he taught in IB schools, International Baccalaureate schools, around the world. Well, that just dried up because they're like, we're not going to pay for you to come, and then our country closes. Which is, and we thought we could do it on Zoom, just a little, whatever. He was close to retirement, which was good. But then my teaching job didn't come out the way it should, and everyone always said, sell your bread, sell your bread, sell your bread. And I didn't want to. I'm a people person, and so I said, no, I'll teach people. And that brought groups together, people together, and it still is. Because the way I design the class, I want them to support each other after they leave my house.
Oh, my.
Yeah. So that's really how it all came about. And I just totally enjoy it. It's really fun.
Okay, so your container that you put it in, how big is it?
Well, that's another thing I do a little differently.
You can tell Lisa knows a little bit about this.
Usually people do it in containers that are like this, glass containers that are tall like this, so they can see how much it rises. I am not into how much it rises. You'd have to go through my whole class, but I don't want people to worry about that. Has it doubled? Do I have to make the bread right now? I do a much simpler, easier way. Well, then if I'm going to make this easier, my bowl instead is like this. Why? Okay, if I don't care when it rises and stuff, it can be bigger and you can get the starter out easier.
Yeah.
like a year ago, I was like, oh, why don't I be like everybody else, which I'm not good at. I'll try it. I'll try it in the jar. Well, it is really hard to get the stuff out.
I have a wide
And-
mouth too.
Yeah,
a big-
the wide mouth
yeah.
just works better. So
Yeah.
yeah.
And what's your take on cold?
Fermenting.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I do.
Because I do that. I fired on the counter because I
no idea what
I
you're talking
literally
about.
don't have time. So if you do it, you can do it on the counter and you can do it in the fridge.
Yeah, and we're still talking about starter or bread.
Starter.
Okay, yeah. Well, I do know when it comes to starter, I do it on the counter, but then it can stay in the refrigerator for 2 weeks before you have to feed it. So that part. But the bread, I also do cold ferment with the bread, and that's a convenience thing.
Yeah, I do both. I'll
Yeah.
do half a day in
Exactly.
on the counter, and then I pop it in the fridge.
And the best chefs do. So my son learned from a man who has won numerous James Beard Awards. His cookbook is in 14 languages. So this is the education I have, and the big people in sourdough baking, the most famous, do more and more cold ferment for the bread because it develops better flavor. That's what they say. I do either way, but it's convenient because if I make sourdough bread and then I'm supposed to spend 2 hours or be around in the afternoon to make the bread, and they say, someone calls and said, let's go to a party, I can say, sure. I just stick it in the refrigerator and make it the next day.
Wow. You didn't know that there was so much to bread making, did you? Right? Wow. Well, I love the bread that you've brought in for us today. Thank you very much.
Yes.
I'm glad you
Stacy, Benedictine Spiritual Direction. Tell us about your space. What are you starting here, young lady?
Yeah, so 2 years ago, I started the Benedictine. It's an international online Benedictine program.
And what is Benedictine?
So that's
I know, but they don't.
right. So that follows Saint Benedict, and it's an order of people that are leaning into the values that Benedict set up right from the beginning. So really, values of humility, of hospitality, of community, of justice. There's many, but those are some of them.
Yeah, so those are really kind of 4 pillars of what he's most known for, right? And then there's some subsets of that along the way, obviously.
For sure. I mean,
Yeah.
prayer.
Yeah.
Prayer is very important. But there's many, and there's actually a group of women that have a monastery here in Colorado Springs,
Yes.
and it's the Benedictine Monastery. And
Yeah.
so
Off Woodman,
it's.
Woodman Valley.
No, you're thinking of
What's that?
Oh, I think is
Sisters,
that St. Francis? Or?
Oh, that is St.
Yeah.
Francis.
Is that right?
To the left.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
this one's off of, I think, 83.
Oh,
And they have a property up back, like out in the woods, and it's beautiful property. They invite people to come. There's an incredible labyrinth there. Like, I've taken a silent retreat there. You can go and have spiritual direction with the nuns there.
Do you have to be Catholic to go?
No, you don't. And you also, it's a progressive order, and so they're not going to be like in a habit, like they're just dressed in regular clothes.
it's regular
and-
clothes. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But they're all about really the awareness of the divine in your life and leaning into that, and then they live it out, They
That's awesome.
Right.
I can't imagine going to a silent retreat and not talking. Can you
Well,
imagine
I agree
doing
with
that?
you. It would not be easy.
So I will say, I did meet with one of the nuns.
Yeah.
And we would talk during that time of spiritual
Okay,
direction.
yeah.
And then I'd be off on my own,
Oh, okay.
like in this area. So.
Yeah.
And it was the first time I'd ever done something like that.
Yeah.
And it was only for a couple days.
And you must have been so calm by the time you were done, I guess.
Well, yes, I'm a mom of 2 boys, and our home is very busy and
Yeah.
active. And so it really was stepping from one side of the spectrum, like all the way to the other.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that, like, culturally, we're not comfortable in silence.
No, yeah.
But there's a lot of goodness that comes
There is.
Yeah.
when you quiet everything else around you.
Yeah. Some people never experience that, Stacy. the quieting of their lives, and they're wondering, why can't I hear?
Right.
Why
Good
can't?
point.
Because it takes silence to hear,
Mhm.
right? And especially from a spiritual standpoint. You know, I served as a spiritual director for 8 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
You have so many things about your life that I don't know.
Yes.
He is multifaceted.
Yeah, these retreats we would do 3 times a year. Yeah, yeah, up in the mountains and
Cool.
get away. It was so much, so fun. I just loved them. I did. So, how does this translate into the practice that you're starting, and what's the
Sure.
value that you're bringing to humanity?
Okay, so I did their program. It's a 2-year program. And what drew me into the program was this international piece. Because before that, from 2015 to 2020, my husband and I, we had moved to Germany. And we lived there for 5 years. And my husband works for the Department of Defense. And we found out, but he's a civilian.
Yeah.
And we found out that through his job, he could take an international position. Where like the military, I grew up military, so you get assigned. But as a civilian, you could apply. And so we both really saw the value of living overseas. And we both had that experience growing up, and we wanted that for our kids. And so we did that, and that really opened up a whole different viewpoint for me to see spirituality lived out within other cultures. And I think that sometimes, as an American, that we can get narrow in our viewpoint. I think anyone can within the culture that they exist in.
It's what you know.
Right? It's what
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
Exactly. But then living overseas, I felt like all of a sudden it was like, whoa, seeing this whole other way of doing life, and then to see the interconnectedness that we have and of spirituality. And for me personally, spirituality has always been a part of my DNA. I think it's everyone's DNA.
Yeah, whether they recognize it.
Yes,
or not.
but it
Yes.
surfaced early in my life. And so, anyway, so I had that experience. And then when I moved back, and we moved in August of 2020. So it was the midst of COVID. It was an election year. It was a crazy housing market. It was just insane. And that was super challenging for me. And then I had the effects of re-entry into what was my home country, but no longer felt familiar because I had changed in good ways. And then coming back in the midst of all of this swirl was really challenging. And so I sought out spiritual direction. And I met with a spiritual director. And she really helped me walk through a lot of pieces within my faith and then within my life. But it was through this spiritual lens. And so then after working with her for over a year, then I sought out this program. I applied for it, did it for the past 2 years, graduated in August. And I have felt this call and almost a responsibility now to use from my own experience and my training to come alongside others and walk with them in their spiritual journey.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, that is beautiful. I'm gonna still drill down a little bit, okay? Because I want our audience to know when they come to Stacy, what the takeaway, what's their expectations? So you want to walk with them, but practically speaking, what exactly are you walking with them?
And is it just women or is it everyone?
Yeah.
It can be women, it can be men. So even in our program, the second year we were assigned, or you need to have, we were like student spiritual directors. And so I was assigned a gentleman who's a pastor. And I met with him, and he's probably 15 years older than I am. And so he was processing life through this spiritual lens. So essentially you're making a space. And you're inviting people into that space. And you're listening. And you're holding up a light. And guiding and pointing out where you see God at work. But you're listening alongside them and helping to raise their awareness of the divine at work with them and within them. And so you can do that through different spiritual tools and the tools and training that we receive, and I pass that on. So it's not for me to hold, but it's to continue to pass on and to help people process. So it's a lot of listening. And then it's talking through and exploring people's thoughts and their emotions.
Sound like coaching,
Questions.
right?
Sure.
Yeah, but on a
Is that
spiritual level.
Oh, yeah, spiritual coaching, or spiritual, So are you, what is your practice called, Stacy?
Grow your hope.
Grow your hope. I like that.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Do you have a website?
It's in the works.
Okay.
Yes, in fact, I feel that I'm on the very front end. When Cam invited me to do this, I was like, wow, what an opportunity. But Cam, I don't have a full business. I just have been in the works, but it's amazed me how many tools are provided within this community to help you to start a business.
Absolutely.
And so I was,
Yeah,
that was just amazing.
Yeah.
I was talking to Cam and I had some questions. And she said, well, you know, the library, there's a woman at the library that you can seek out. And or they have small business help at the library. I think that's what you were saying. So I went to the Pikes Peak Public Library and talked to them and asked about their small business. And they put me in touch with
SBDC.
SBDC. Yeah. So first I met with Tara Ruff, I think is her name. And then we met for like an hour. And then she put me in touch with the SBDC.
Yeah.
So then I reached out to them and I took a couple classes. And that helped me then to be able to meet with a consultant.
Yes.
And so I met with a consultant and he's been working with me, just giving me these different ideas and really practical steps to be taking. I feel like I'm learning business acumen.
Yeah.
That's a whole adventure in and of itself.
Yes.
And so
One of the greatest small business support ecosystems in America exists right here in Colorado Springs. And it's really, really...
And we're so collaborative too.
Yes.
We all work together.
yes, and I'm really noticing that,
Yeah.
and just the willingness to share that people who are much further along in this journey than I am are so willing
Yes.
to share their
true.
input
Yeah.
and their wisdom with us. I'm so grateful for that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, we
It's
want
different
you-
than Denver.
Yeah.
Stay with us. Yes.
Tell them how you really feel. Yeah, so... yeah, Cam. I'm
Yes.
sorry.
That's okay.
I got... What is Cam? What is that short
That's
for?
just my name.
Is that the full name?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I've
I'm
never
from California. I always say that, and then
Oh,
everybody
okay.
goes, "Oh yeah."
Yeah, the hippie. Yeah, you can. I'm Jam. Let's do it together, right? That's awesome. I love it. Kam Fletcher, how did you? I mean, what? You just saw your son doing this stuff, and you say, "Wow, that'd be cool."
Well, I've always loved cooking, food,
Oh, okay.
baking, and etc. And then I think 11 years ago, when he learned, I said, "Oh, teach me." Now he was far away, but he on the phone. He's still teaching me today. There's so much involved in sourdough, but I just really loved it, and it made me feel so much better. I didn't have a gluten intolerance problem,
Yeah.
but I didn't feel bloated when I ate sourdough
Yeah.
products. I'd say 90% of the people that have a gluten intolerance problem that have had my bread are fine with sourdough.
Yeah.
It didn't start. Gluten intolerance did not start until 150 years ago when they invented the baker's yeast. Okay. Because that's not what you asked me. Okay. But I just kept doing it, and then when COVID hit, that's when I decided I want to start teaching people to do it. And I was working part-time for the first 2 years. Part-time at school too, and that was really hard because I'd work with little kids all day and then teach a class, at night.
Yeah, it's
And
exhausting.
it was hard. But now I'm not teaching, and I want more kids classes because I love kids. But the adults are really fun too.
Yeah.
So, and I just want people to learn how to make sourdough because it's so much healthier.
Yeah.
And
So
have fun.
is that the main impetus behind your doing this? Is the health component?
No, I'd say community first.
Oh.
Community by far.
Okay.
Because people, since COVID, are not as community minded. And I don't think they were that much before, but it's even worse now. There was an article in the New York Times about people in the United States are more alone and secluded than they've ever been. And people need each other. You can't, it's not healthy to be by yourself. And you really can develop a community with sourdough, you know, working together. And in each of the classes, like I said before, I try to encourage them to help each other, you know, in their journey. And I'm there to support them. Okay, you know, don't think that, oh, we can't ask for help. No, I really want them to ask for help because I want them to continue. Some people do have parties just for the fun of it. They have no idea at all that they're going to continue. They just want to make pizza together. They just want to make, because the sourdough pretzels are way fun because you take the dough and roll it out and then you spin it in the air. And and it could be flying all over the place. I mean, so you could really have a fun party and never continue your sourdough journey. But I'd say 75% of the people continue. Yeah.
Wow. So is there anyone else in your community here? I mean, are you at the lead of this sourdough?
It's funny, in the last year, there's been 4 people including a girl in Littleton who are teaching classes now, 4 different. And before that, my first 2.5 years, there wasn't anybody. But we're 750,000 now. I have no problem with that.
Exactly.
You know, And though all the other people also, except for me, sell their bread, and I don't do that. I just teach classes.
Yeah.
So
you don't sell bread?
No.
Yeah, you don't make bread from your bread?
No, yes, I make bread from my dough, but it's through teaching other people. No, it's a whole different licensing thing.
You are quick.
And I do not want to be stuck in an industrial kitchen or even my kitchen by myself
It's a lot of
making
work.
bread. Well, it's a lot of work and you're by yourself.
There you go.
Yeah.
Totally your values are being violated.
Yeah, it's just
Right.
I want to be with people.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You know.
Well, we want to be with you too.
Thank you.
Because you rock like that.
Yeah.
Well, and believe me, for these classes, there's enough prep by yourself, you know, to get ready for them. Because I show them every aspect of making the bread, so I have to do a lot before.
There's a lot of pre-planning, I'm
yeah,
sure.
yeah. But I just love being with the people.
Yeah. You can tell. You can tell you got that. You got that going on.
Yeah.
Do you have your own Pinterest page? Are you?
I still have. I have 2 Facebook pages. Partly, I'm in a group and a business page because I've made a mistake, and and I've Instagram. You know, my son-in-law, who is the father of the very wonderful grandchild.
Amazing.
He helped me with the whole. He developed the website and has helped me tremendously. I could not have done it without him. With social media marketing, and he did not help me make the mistake. I did that by myself. And he even continues to.
But you have a website.
Yes, he made the website.
Because you know everything. I'm huge on Pinterest, but everything on Pinterest directs you to a website.
Yeah, I need, you know, and it really was Josh who told me. He said, you got to get on Pinterest. And that's funny. No one had told me that. And I just haven't, I'm on Pinterest by myself, but not with the business. As a matter of fact, it's locked. My Pinterest account, you know, the bread part. But yes, I do need to do that.
Yeah, because it's real easy, and you just have a picture, and then you pop it up and save it under your board for your business,
Right.
and then it directs them to your website. And then right when they hit your website, you say follow, subscribe.
Yeah. And I do it to say I'm much better at posting on Facebook and Instagram than I am maintaining the website. I really needs work. It still says 2.5 years.
Yeah, you need
and it's
Joshua.
3.5. I mean, I need to get
Pay
on that.
what you can.
But, yeah, I know.
Consultations.
I'm definitely signing up for that.
Cressio.com.
Because I need some help. But the good part of the good reason, I'm pretty organized, that I have not made the appointment with him and I haven't gone back to the website is because I've been so busy with classes.
Yeah.
I mean that's
Which
why.
is a good problem.
Yeah, which is
I
a
mean,
great thing. But I
make
still
it
need to make my website better.
Yeah, we're not trying to add.
Yeah.
We're just telling you.
Okay, no,
we
no,
love
no,
you.
no.
But just
Right.
know
Good.
Pinterest is a piece of cake. You're making a mountain out of a molehill. It's really simple.
Okay.
Like, very
Yeah.
easy.
Very simple.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'll do that.
Yeah, I
Thank
believe
you.
you. You know, Robert Frost had this quote, young lady, and I always ask people this because it's one of my favorite quotes, and I bet you will know it. I should be telling this with a sigh, somewhere ages and ages since. Two roads diverged in the road, and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference. So, what's been your road less traveled?
Well, I feel that life, one of my mottos for my life is that life is all about relationships. And in order to have relationships, you need to be vulnerable and be willing to. I mean, you can have surface relationships, but I think that what really
What's that?
changes us
Yeah.
and gives us hope and helps with that loneliness is when you're willing to go deep. And there needs to be that vulnerability. And so there's been pieces of my journey that on the front end I wouldn't have chosen. And even when we were moving through our years of infertility, I remember having almost this mental picture of myself squatting down on like a path and saying like, I want this path. And that wasn't how things were going to turn out. And I think sometimes that we need to let go in order to be willing to receive something new. And in that newness, there's goodness. And so, in light of that, then that's taken me on a journey of, like, to my children, who I adore. And I'm so grateful that I get to be a mom. It's the ups and downs of marriage, and we had talked a little bit before about that too.
Yeah.
But I'm so grateful to have my husband by my side,
Even in the downtime.
even the down times, right? Like,
That's it.
because there's so much humility that marriage takes,
Oh, yeah.
right? Like,
Totally.
and I can be a very strong-headed Puerto Rican, and he lives with me, and I'm so
What
grateful.
nationality is he?
He's English.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, by like
Not
his family,
British, yeah.
right? But
Yeah.
But
they go back
But-
to. Well, actually, they go back to
He's a
England.
white guy.
But he is a white guy.
Yeah.
He is a white guy. He is my white guy.
not just a white guy, you're a white guy.
That's
Fist
right.
pump, don't leave me hanging.
Yes, in German we'd say mein Mann. He is my Mann.
My
Right?
mind.
But I think even the journey of like living overseas and that peace and how it has shaped me and continuing to stay in relationships with my German friends too.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So,
Yeah.
but above all of that would be this journey that I've been on with the Lord, with God, from being a little one, and there's those dark nights of the soul,
Yes, there
right?
are.
And there's times that you question and want to leave it all behind or throw the baby out with the bathwater. But for me, that hasn't, as honest as I can be, then I need to be honest and walk my journey, walk a journey with others, invite them into it, and then lean into hope.
Yeah, Ayla Whistle. Dark nights of the soul, right?
Right.
We all experience them,
We do.
don't we? Yeah, and it's
That's right.
part of living.
Mm-hmm.
Man, what a rich conversation.
Yes.
You know, from baking some sourdough, and we can laugh. But there's so many. I wish we had more time. So many medicinal value that's involved with what you're doing. Community and caring about people, and all those things are really a wrap in what sourdough and the Haphazard Sourdough Baker platform is about. Thank you for doing that. You know, we got one more thing to do before we have to wrap, because we got another show we need to do, and we got to get you guys out of here as much as it pains my heart. Right? Yeah, so Lisa, why don't you ask them our outgoing questions?
So Cam, I'll start with you since you're the panel host today. If you wouldn't mind looking at that camera and encouraging the world first and foremost, and then tell them how to reach you.
Okay. This is a tough time. Oh, no, it's... To encourage, but we have to keep encouraging. I'm from LA.
Yes.
And you know what's happening there. But we can't let it pull us down. We have to keep caring for each other wherever we are. I was talking with Stacy on the way here because I have friends from kindergarten who are still my friends, who are still there and lost their homes. But we have to see the good, and we have to keep caring for each other wherever we are. I just think that's really important when it comes to business, community. Like Frank and Lisa have said, how people here are so. They want to help you with your business. I mean, it's awesome. It's just a great place. And that has encouraged me too. I couldn't have done this by myself. I didn't have any experience, at all. But it was people helping me. So don't give up. Just keep plugging along. Don't let little things or even big things get in the way. My word for the year is imperfect. Because I feel that everybody is always trying to be perfect. And I have that issue. I'm Swiss, okay? And everything has to be like that. And so,
Just like the watch.
Yes,
On
exactly.
time, baby.
And I realize that when I make mistakes, it's okay. Laugh it off. When you make mistakes, you're imperfect. You will learn from your mistakes.
Yes.
And so I just really encourage people not to give up and to care for each other now more than ever.
Indeed. How do they reach you?
Haphazard Sourdough Baker. I'm on Instagram, Facebook, and I have a website. If you just forget any of it, just remember Haphazard, and you Google it, I'll come up.
Sourdough Baker.
Awesome.
There we go.
Can you do the same?
Okay. I think also that we need to remember the goodness in us and the goodness in each other. And now more than ever, to hold on to that light and to be that light. And so, and when that's hard and we feel like our light is dimming, then to reach out and to remember that we're deeply loved. And so I lean into that spiritual piece of who we are. I think there's many parts of who we are. We're physical, we're mental, we're emotional, we're spiritual. And so we can't amputate a part of ourselves and expect to be whole.
So good.
Not my quote. That is not my quote, but I heard that once, and I've held on to that. And so,
So good.
Yes.
So good.
So you can find me, or you can send me an email at growyourhope@outlook.com, and
There
I'd
we
love to
go.
connect.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we've had the great Kam Fletcher and Stacy Cowell here today from the Haphazard Sourdough and Grow Your Hope. Thank you, ladies, for being with us.
Thank you.
Starting our week off
great.
absolutely.
And feeding us.
And
Thank
feeding
you.
us.
Thank you very much.
We'll see you around really soon.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Hello, I'm Frank, and this is
Lisa.
We want to welcome you to the Be Encouraged Show, where each week we reach an audience of 45,000 potential listeners
And growing.
across our social platforms and guest networks. Our mission is simple yet profound to spread hope and encouragement, connecting our audience with stories that uplift and inspire.
So, whether you're a business owner looking to expand your reach or someone eager to share your journey of impact, our platform is designed to highlight the positive differences we can all make.
Getting involved with our show is easy and rewarding. First, you get to be a guest on this show. This is a fantastic opportunity for brand recognition as you share your story with our engaged listeners.
And Frank and I are now offering Q&A Mastermind monthly sessions. And these are not just informative experiences, but we actually help with your business on strategic insights and provide a supportive group setting.
Oh, yes, we do, don't we? And if you're looking to drive targeted lead generation, consider sponsoring our show. We offer multiple tiers and customizable options to fit your marketing needs perfectly.
We have had over 350 guests, and they have been able to brand themselves and share all the goodness that they are doing here in community.
And it's not just about numbers. Our approach opens up a space for vulnerability, helping our guests genuinely connect with audiences. This authentic interaction is a powerful catalyst for community and business growth. Take, for example, we have partners here at Be Encouraged, and since getting involved with our platform, they've seen a staggering 900% growth in just 7 months here in the Springs.
So if you're ready to make a significant impact, join us today at BeEncouraged.net.
And let's make the world a more hopeful and connected place, one story at a time.
From my dad's 40-year grind as an immigrant mechanic to personal traumas such as my mom's suicide attempts, I know life's hurdles. That's why Cressio's mission is to empower the underprivileged right here in Colorado Springs. Are you struggling with sales? We'll help with leads and conversions. Or are you overwhelmed? We'll help with automating your tasks and optimizing your business for staffing. Are you ready to transform? Scan today to start.
Hello, I'm Frank, and this is
Lisa.
We want to welcome you to the Be Encouraged show, where each week we reach an audience of 45,000 potential listeners
And growing.
across our social platforms and guest networks. Our mission is simple yet profound to spread hope and encouragement, connecting our audience with stories that uplift and inspire.
So, whether you're a business owner looking to expand your reach or someone eager to share your journey of impact, our platform is designed to highlight the positive differences we can all make.
Getting involved with our show is easy and rewarding. First, you get to be a guest on this show. This is a fantastic opportunity for brand recognition as you share your story with our engaged listeners.
And Frank and I are now offering Q&A Mastermind monthly sessions. And these are not just informative experiences, but we actually help with your business on strategic insights and provide a supportive group setting.
Oh, yes, we do, don't we? And if you're looking to drive targeted lead generation, consider sponsoring our show. We offer multiple tiers and customizable options to fit your marketing needs perfectly.
We have had over 350 guests, and they have been able to brand themselves and share all the goodness that they are doing here in community.
And it's not just about numbers. Our approach opens up a space for vulnerability, helping our guests genuinely connect with audiences. This authentic interaction is a powerful catalyst for community and business growth. Take, for example, we have partners here at Be Encouraged, and since getting involved with our platform, they've seen a staggering 900% growth in just 7 months here in the Springs.
So if you're ready to make a significant impact, join us today at BeEncouraged.net.
And let's make the world a more hopeful and connected place, one story at a time.
From my dad's 40-year grind as an immigrant mechanic to personal traumas such as my mom's suicide attempts, I know life's hurdles. That's why Cressio's mission is to empower the underprivileged right here in Colorado Springs. Are you struggling with sales? We'll help with leads and conversions. Or are you overwhelmed? We'll help with automating your tasks and optimizing your business for staffing. Are you ready to transform? Scan today to start.
Hello, I'm Frank, and this is
Lisa.
We want to welcome you to the Be Encouraged show, where each week we reach an audience of 45,000 potential listeners
And growing.
across our social platforms and guest networks. Our mission is simple yet profound: to spread hope and encouragement, connecting our audience with stories that uplift and inspire.
So whether you're a business owner looking to expand your reach or someone eager to share your journey of impact, our platform is designed to highlight the positive differences we can all make.
Getting involved with our show is easy and rewarding. First, you get to be a guest on this show. This is a fantastic opportunity for brand recognition as you share your story with our engaged listeners.
And Frank and I are now offering Q&A mastermind monthly sessions. And these are not just informative experiences, but we actually help with your business on strategic insights and provide a supportive group setting.
Oh, yes, we do, don't we? And if you're looking to drive targeted lead generation, consider sponsoring our show. We offer multiple tiers and customizable options to fit your marketing needs perfectly.
We have had over 350 guests, and they have been able to brand themselves and share all the goodness that they are doing here in community.
And it's not just about numbers. Our approach opens up a space for vulnerability, helping our guests
back. I'm Frank.
I'm Lisa.
This is the Be Encouraged show with Frank and Lisa on Monday afternoon. We're so thankful that you would join us here. We always bring in some incredible humans, don't we, Lisa?
Yes.
Yeah, that talk about life and business and stuff stuff, right? Don't get scared, Stacy. Some stuff, right? Yeah, what does that say?
All right. Well, first, we'd like to say thank you so much to our platinum sponsor, Cressio, for this show. When you get a pay what you can consultation with them, you can learn how to penetrate the noisy market with brand recognition strategies. Visit Cressio.com to learn more and check out the flyer later.
Indeed. You know, Dr. Doug Hamp here, I met at National Speakers Association.
Oh,
in
that's where you met him.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. We were both there. Was that your first time as well, Doug, or it was your
My first year, actually. So.
your first year?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I went there, had the opportunity to meet him. Then we had lunch together. What an incredible life. So far, you're still a young man.
So far, yes.
Yeah. So right. Then Doug, thanks for coming. And you brought and Doug's a professional speaker, consultant, author, linguist, theologian, bringing godly leadership to life. Indeed. Wow. Yeah. So wow. That's awesome.
That's a huge gauntlet to
That
throw.
is awesome. Yes. And the very incredible Stacy Pederson here. Funny and motivational, inspirational keynote speaker, award-winning actress and comedian, and a speaker coach.
Wow.
All that wrapped up in one gorgeous human.
Yes.
Right? Yes. Isn't that cool?
And she was in Colorado Springs, by the way, everyone,
Yeah.
for 23 years?
26.
26 years.
years.
Yep, raised my family here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes,
kicked us to the
nice.
curb and left.
did.
so.
Yeah. She had to go.
I won't say what else she said.
That was behind the scenes.
That wasn't a blooper. You didn't get that, did you, Angie? Yes, indeed. And we wanted to shout out real quick before we start our conversation. Angie, we're so glad to have you here. Angie's
Yes.
working in the background. What's the name of your business again?
Smash.
Smash.
Smash Media.
Smash Media. Don't smash us. Yeah, let's cash us. I love it. Yeah, so she's new to our team as well, and Joshua Geary with Cressio is always on the scene. So, Lisa, should we get going?
Yes, so Doug, do you go by Doug or Douglas?
Doug is good.
Doug is good. Okay. So where are you from originally?
Grew up in Michigan,
Okay.
so got the map right.
Yeah.
Grew up right up here, Petoskey. Really pretty area on Lake Michigan, so did a lot of sailing. Also had horses.
Water skiing.
I didn't do a lot of water skiing.
Oh, really?
We didn't have a powerboat. We had a sailboat, so
Okay.
we moved a lot slower.
Yes.
Where the wind took us.
Yeah, right.
And sometimes
You
it
were in
took us some
California,
crazy
man.
places.
You could have water skied the way the wind was blowing there. I mean, it was ridiculous, wasn't it? Yeah.
So, but I love it out here in Colorado. Love to ski. So
How'd you get here? What was the?
I came back in the '90s actually to be a ski bum. So I was living up at Keystone, having a great time. And then I got this idea that I should, do something else with the rest of my life. And I still regret that decision. I could have stayed up in Summit County and skied all the time. But I went to Israel and I did my master's degree at the Hebrew University there. I just had a real interest in understanding, the Bible and the ancient texts and the Hebrew language and other dead languages. And so I had a good time there. It was really an amazing place. And I got to spend 3 years there. It was really just transformational.
Right. So, if I'm always want to dig because it's like, who wakes up and runs from Michigan, becomes a ski bum, and suddenly wants to go to Israel and study at the Hebrew University. What happened? What's the impetus behind doing that, man?
Well, I grew up as a Christian, and so I always had a kind of a love for understanding the Bible, and I just figured, the next logical step for me was to go and get a more formal training. I considered seminary, but I kept hearing how I had a pastor mentor who it's like, yeah, everything I learned about Hebrew, I totally forgot. And I was like, well, I don't want to do that. I actually want to learn it and try to hold on to it for a while.
Apply it, right?
And so I thought, why learn it and completely lose it? And so it just made sense to me to go to Israel. I had an aunt married in at the time who was also Jewish, and she told me about her time living on a kibbutz. And I was like, this sounds fascinating, to get to go and live on a kibbutz, to be with the people, to learn Hebrew.
What's a kibbutz?
Well, so a kibbutz is a collective, it's a collective, like a collective living situation.
Okay.
So when Israel first started, there were a lot of kibbutzim. These were these collective living compounds, and people would all live together, eat together, they'd raise their kids together. And they were very foundational in the beginning of Israel, the modern state of Israel, of course, so that they could, focus on getting out to the fields and do what they had to do, and then somebody else would be taking care of the kids. So it was kind of almost a communist style living. But then, of course, as Israel got, bigger and more successful, those became less and less important. But there's still communities that have been there since the beginning, and the people are still doing their thing. And so I had the opportunity to go and to live on a kibbutz for a couple months, and it was amazing. I got to work in the chicken hatchery. That was my thing. Oh my goodness. Yeah, that wasn't the greatest job.
No,
but,
I wouldn't think so.
No.
Yeah.
So is your family, are they all in Michigan still, or?
My dad passed. My mom had moved to California years ago, and then we moved her out here to Colorado back in 2019.
Oh, so she's here now.
Yep, she's here now.
Awesome.
Yep.
And you have family, wife, kids?
Divorced. I have 3 kids, and so they're 19, 17, and 15.
Okay.
And,
Well, you got your hands full.
Like every 2 years, right?
yes.
Where did you earn your doctorate at?
At Louisiana Baptist University.
Okay.
Yeah. So my master's is in the Hebrew Bible, and then my PhD.
That's
is
not
in
where
Hebrew
David
Bible.
Platt was, is it? At Louisiana.
I don't know if
You
David
don't
Platt
know
was
if
there.
that was there.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah. I'm getting to those conversations, right? The pastor reading conversation. This guy reads as much as me.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He does. Yeah, he does. We love reading.
Wait,
so.
I have a question before we move on
Okay.
from him, though. So, you never broke your faith? You didn't sway in your faith in any time when you were in Keystone specifically, or
Partying like that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just saying, let's be real. Did you have?
Oh, I still sway in my faith.
I mean, we all do. I'm just asking, like, what's
I'm
your
a recovering
history?
Baptist, basically.
Yeah.
I'm a recovering.
No, I grew up very Baptist, and
Yeah.
I don't consider
Very
myself
conservative.
Baptist anymore.
Yeah.
I think I don't think it's possible to not break from your faith. I mean, if you're actively pursuing God, you're going to be questioning things.
Yes.
And I'm delighted to discover that He's okay with people questioning.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Because if you're
He
kind of the
loves us.
frozen chosen, and you're never questioning anything, you are not growing.
No.
And you might think that you have, or your theology has all the answers, but it doesn't. And I tell you, we love to stick God in boxes.
Oh, yes.
But God is a lot bigger than a box.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Right? And He just won't go in the box, no matter how much you try to shove Him in there.
Nope.
And then
He made the box.
Yeah.
and then we think we're so special. We're like, well, I got God in this little box.
Yeah.
And we're like, we have this enlightenment. Like, well, now my box is bigger. Like, no, God's still bigger than the box, right? And so I've gotten to that place where I'm more or less comfortable with saying, you know what? I don't understand much of anything. I know God is really big, and I know this much about God, right? And He's like crazy big, right? I know that much. So how much do I really know? Not too much. Okay. So, I do wrestle with that, and I'm like, you could have written it a little better so it would be clear. And He's like, maybe that. And I'm like, well, maybe that's the point.
Maybe that is the point.
Maybe not having all the answers is okay.
Yes.
And being really fuzzy on some things is okay. And being unsure about things is not a deficit, but it's actually a benefit. And it's kind of blown my mind in many ways. So yeah, I'm probably not welcome to a lot of Baptist potlucks anymore, but
I don't know. I was a military wife for many
Okay.
years, and I loved the Baptist churches in the South.
Oh, yeah.
They're different than the Baptist churches here.
okay.
Yeah, I walked into one here, and I'm like, what is this?
There's-
It's totally
there's-
different.
There's good people everywhere.
Oh, yeah, there are. Yeah.
Everywhere.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm absolutely convinced that God gives us a specific thing. I don't even think denominations are bad.
Yeah.
I think if you stay on your emphasis and not try to make it someone else's emphasis,
Yeah.
and just hold on to that and allow that to be your heart and to do it from a place of humility, that's fine.
Yeah.
Right? I got something to learn from you.
Yeah.
I'll stay on what God has emphasized in our space
There you go.
and do the very best we can there. And maybe if all those emphases come together, we might be able to learn something beautiful about loving each other.
Exactly.
Indeed.
Right?
Yep.
I agree with that.
Yeah. Yeah, so, hey, lady. You're so incredible. We're so glad to have Stacy. Thank you for bringing
Yes,
Stacy.
thank you.
Yeah.
Are you an NSA student?
Yes,
graduate,
I've been, well, I've never done their academy, but I've been a part of NSA since 2016. A
Oh,
professional.
my.
Yeah.
Yeah, almost 9 years now.
Yes, I'm old.
Oh my gosh.
You started when you were 18. Lisa, I am so interested in hearing about, tell us about your journey. I'm not even going to quantify
Yes,
that.
Stacy.
Tell us about Stacy Pederson.
Personal life.
Well, okay. I do not have the accolades.
Stop it.
I'm a theater major who failed math. So
With gorgeous blue eyes and
Oh
a sense of
my
humor.
God.
so
You're a major that failed math.
my tag that I use is just that I'm a funny motivational speaker who's almost died a bunch. And that pretty much sums it up.
Oh wow.
You
Okay,
can't
I'm
leave
gonna
us
let
hanging there. Come
Please,
on.
do
now.
tell.
Dramatic pause.
Yeah.
There we go. We're top at it this weekend, right? Pregnant pause right there. Okay, you delivered, so go on.
To make a short story long, I grew up in the middle of nowhere in Oregon, and my parents were hippies, and true story, I was born in a one-room cabin with no electricity and potty trained in an outhouse, and so I grew up very rural, and fast forward all these years, I got a degree in theater, married, did a bunch of stuff. I'm all.
Notice how
I
she
don't know how
quickly
much
played that
detail
off.
to give.
Almost die in any of that.
No, I didn't almost die in any of
Okay.
that. But what they thought was July 29th of 2011, I was building a children's musical theater set. So my friend and I co-founded the Academy of Children's Theater here in Colorado Springs.
Oh.
Did you?
Lynn and I, yes. So I had moved on, and because my first husband had he had a terminal illness. But he's still here.
Oh, he's still alive?
Yeah.
Okay.
How long has he been terminal?
To me, a long time.
The day you signed the dotted line.
A weekend.
So great.
That would have been 19 years ago.
He's been terminal for 19 years.
What is he?
He has it's an autoimmune disorder called polymyositis, and his immune system attacks all of his muscle fibers, including his organs and his brain and
Oh wow.
and all of that. So,
So it must be very painful.
yes, yes,
Sounds
it is.
painful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we have two beautiful children.
Boys, girls,
Yeah, one of each.
one of each.
Yes. Both their birthdays in December, so my daughter turned 25 and my son turned 21.
Oh.
And they're doing very well. But meanwhile, back at the ranch in July 29th, 2011, I was building a children's musical theater set, and I stepped on a rusty nail. And it healed fine, but the week my divorce was final, I was signing over the paperwork to the house, and I remember not feeling good. I almost died. I had septic shock. I was in the hospital for 3 weeks. And fast forward, I've almost died 7 times now. And what I found out 2 years ago is that it's actually a misdiagnosis. That I have this weird bacteria called brucellosis, which is from growing up on raw goat's milk and being around dairy animals. And so I'm on treatment for that now. But yeah, so through all of that, I've had just kind of a journey of faith and mental health issues. I have PTSD from almost dying so much and those kinds of things. Yeah. So basically, I'm a train wreck.
You sound like a pretty standard human.
True.
Right? We're all pretty much train
But
wrecks.
what a relief to find out what it was finally. Because you probably knew something was wrong, like, right?
Yes. It was a little, I will be honest, it was a shock because what I have now is curable. So what I went through for the last 14 years, treatment-wise, almost dying, all of that, had it been correctly diagnosed, I wouldn't have had to gone through all of that.
Oh,
Wow.
So I had I had to process through that. But what I realized was that regardless of the misdiagnosis, the lessons that I learned about life and what matters are valuable no matter what.
Yeah.
So I'm thankful for that.
That's awesome.
Is your children, they're here or
No, they're both in college.
out of state or?
Yes.
Okay.
So I have one. My son is in Nebraska, business major, running track. I have 2 dead opposite children. He's my conservative, and then I have my beautiful liberal purple-haired daughter at Portland State University studying art.
Well, she's in the right place to be liberal.
Yes.
So.
Yes, she is. She is
And
so
now purple
happy.
hair.
She is so happy.
Portland State, right? And so I have that mix in my family as well. So
Are
yeah.
your parents still alive? Or?
Yeah, in fact, today is my dad's birthday.
Oh,
Happy birthday, Dad.
They divorced a long time ago, so they live in different.
How old were you when they got divorced?
I was 18.
Did that rock your world?
It did. Yeah, it actually did. I don't know why.
You didn't see it coming?
I grew up so different, and I want to say far away from like cultural norms that I thought everybody's family was like I thought everybody
Was jacked up as you guys.
had, the deer on the kitchen table hacking it up, and I thought that was normal.
Yeah,
I didn't know.
that was your norm.
Yeah, it was my norm.
Yeah.
So I had no idea that people haven't lived like that since 1857.
So your mama didn't like that?
No, because she still kind of does that.
1850s.
Yeah. In fact, the last time I visited her, she was shooting squirrels out of her window.
Oh, wow. Is she still in Oregon in the cabin?
No, she's in Arkansas.
Okay.
Lots of squirrels there.
Not as many since she's moved.
Just not her.
Oh my gosh. They
My
spread the
family
rumor.
did that.
Did they to eat?
Oh yeah. Yeah, squirrels were.
Delicious.
I don't know. I never ate one.
Oh, you didn't?
But that's all
Tastes
parts
like
of my
chicken, I'm
family
sure.
that did.
Yeah.
I call them tree rats now.
Oh my gosh.
Wow, Stacy, what a life!
Yeah.
I love it. Gave you great material for your comedy, though, right?
It did.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. Funny, motivation, inspirational, keynote. Well, as you're listening to Stacy right now, I know that you're writing down her information and her name because your next event needs to include her. We'd throw that in for free, right? Okay, so.
Do you do events?
Yeah, that's all I do.
Oh, that's your
keynote
full-time.
speaker,
That's
yeah.
my full-time. I'm a
Right.
full-time speaker, and now I'm touring with the Moms Unhinged comedy show. So that's
Fun.
national. We're having a good time.
Moms
Yes. Yes.
Sounds dangerous.
Well, it could be.
I can
but-
see how you really fit in.
How did you meet with them?
The lady who started it, she is actually a speaker as well.
Okay.
And so I've known her through NSA, and she just had this idea. She started in, I think our first show was in 2017 or 2018. And then this last year, she just took a leap, and the show exploded and has gone nationwide, and she has shows going all the time everywhere across the country.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's been amazing because, especially moms, but there's not a lot of comedy shows for women at all
There's not.
that are clean.
I can't go?
You can go. We do have brave men come.
And he's brave. He's brave.
I think they leave a little traumatized because they have no idea women think like that. So
Wait, think like what?
all of it. All of it.
You don't want to go there, Dave. Doug. I don't know if our show is still, like PG. But it's a clean show, though, right?
For the most part, yeah. She tries to go by dry bar comedy rules.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Dry bar.
I haven't seen it, but I've heard of it. So
Have
that's
you?
exciting. Yes.
Yeah. Dry bar comedy. What is that?
It is a comedy club in Utah that there's no alcohol and it's clean, and it exploded, and they like a lot of comedians go through there. They sell out, millions of views on YouTube.
Nice.
We have a dry bar here now.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
Do you?
We
Yeah.
do. We do. Created and designed by ex-alcoholics.
Fun.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I've never been,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
maybe it's not fun.
Well,
I've
they're
never
supposed to have
been.
delicious mocktails. So yeah. Maybe you should just bring a little speaker and set up there and see what happens.
Oh, Doug. Doug, you're doing good work. You are. You're placing something in society that's very needed. Notice how I transition to seriousness. You're welcome. Doing something that's really, really needed. We say it's good. Now, if Doug can really just throw off all possibilities for your movement in the next year, what would crazy good look like for you, Doug?
As far as a pastor or as a speaker?
Just whatever.
Whatever.
Yes
life,
and yes.
all
Yes
the
and
things.
yes.
Yeah, I'm kind of tired of some of the negativity that can go around some of the discussions. Like, I really want to focus on how awesome God is. I want to focus on, how He has made us to enjoy life, to enjoy Him, and but we can get so focused on the negative stuff of politics, of what's happening with the economy, and there's always something to be depressed about, right?
Yes.
And so I want to look at the glass half full. That's kind of what I'm trying to do. Probably that's for me because I can tend to get into the half empty thing. And there's just so much joy when we start focusing on what is good. And so that's where I want to be. And if I can help people to see that, and that God is so much bigger than my own ideas or my own theology or doctrines, then I think I will have done a good job, So I would say, if I could continue to spread that message and to give people hope, then I'd be really excited about that.
And who would be your audience for your speaking?
Well, I mean, obviously I'm a pastor of a church, so there's that. But I also want to get into more of the corporate side of things. So I've developed a talk called Don't Worry, Be a Happy Leader. And I talk about the 4 happiness chemicals. So you've got endorphins, dopamine, serotonin, and oxytocin. And these are the little neurotransmitters. There's all that spaghetti neurons in our brain. And, every time a signal goes from one neuron to another, it has to go through this little nexus point, and that's where those chemicals come in. And just understanding some of our chemistry, it's kind of helped me a bit, understanding that when I go after rewards and pleasures, things that are for me, and if I do that too much, it can be a problem. Now, this is where we have an imbalance, because sometimes in the church we hear that any kind of pleasure is bad. But that's not true. God made a whole garden full of pleasure. It's called the Garden of Eden, right?
Yeah,
Eden
right.
literally means pleasure, right?
Yes,
So He's
it
into
is.
pleasure. We're promised that at His right hand are pleasures forevermore, right? So He's totally into pleasure. But the pleasure that we often think about are the kind of the rewards. That's the dopamine stuff, right? So when I just go for things that are going to gratify me, whether that's doom scrolling or binge watching, eating that bag of potato chips when I really shouldn't be eating it, right? That's all dopamine, right? I need dopamine. We all need dopamine to even get out of bed in the morning. We won't do anything. They've done studies on mice that have shown if they don't have dopamine, they lose all will to live. So you have to have dopamine. But if that becomes your constant thing and you're just chasing the rewards, it doesn't lead to happiness. It leads to burnout. And it will literally fry your brain. Like you'll experience neuronal cell death. It's pretty crazy.
Oh my.
And so, and this is one of those things where, even as a pastor, I've wondered if some of the admonitions in Scripture are just kind of pie in the sky, that's that theological niceties. But things like to be carnally minded is death. Right? And then I understood about the dopamine and stuff, and I was like, wow, that's like really literally true, right? And it's better to give than to receive. And there's days you're like, I don't know about that. I kind of like getting stuff, But now the science of our minds has actually shown us that by giving, that's where the real happiness is. And of course there's like 1,000 anecdotes, but there's a guy I talk about who was very successful. He built this gorgeous palatial mansion, and he bought sports teams. But it wasn't until he started giving things away that he started finding true happiness. And so it's okay to have stuff. God isn't against having stuff, and about pleasure. That's all fine. But if that is your main thing, if that's what you're chasing after, it's not going to lead to happiness. It's going to lead to burnout. And this is why sometimes people that have lots of money still kill themselves, sadly.
Matter of fact, we look here in the Springs, which at one point had the highest teen suicide rate in the country. In El Paso, more than 87% of the teens that killed themselves were from upper crust homes.
Prominent families.
Right. So they got all the stuff.
They got
right?
the stuff. Yeah.
And it wasn't about the stuff.
It wasn't about the stuff.
So
it's never, to me, it follows. If you've gotten everything that culture tells you should make you happy, and you're still miserable, so that's natural next step.
Right.
What's the point?
Right.
Right?
Right.
It really is. And we need to really, I was just talking, I spoke at a church just recently, she came, and I'm saying, we call blessed stuff. That's ridiculous. It really is. Yeah, how can that be, blessed that I get to come on Mondays and hang out with Lisa, my partner here, and have incredible human. This is blessings.
Yes, it
it's
is.
not the stuff that I have.
I know.
Exactly.
But it's easy to fall into that trap.
It is.
Yeah.
Even as a pastor, I fall into it.
I do too. I have.
I see the glitzy stuff, and I'm like, ooh,
Yeah, my car is not good enough. Look at that one.
Right, it's you fall into the keeping up with the Joneses mentality.
Yeah.
And again, you can keep up a little bit, right? But if that's your sole goal, you're going to be sorely disappointed.
Sorely, yeah. But what a great message. So is that going to be your? What's we call our message? That's the key message.
My keynote,
Yeah. So we call it something else, but
So do you go to churches and speak, and is that your main?
Well, I'm sort of breaking into this, actually.
Yeah.
So,
what are you wanting to break into?
Yeah, I would like to speak at I'd like to start with Christian companies.
Okay.
And take this because, companies, when you have unhappy employees, it leads to burnout, it leads to quiet quitting, absenteeism, turnover, accidents, low productivity, right? So there's all kinds of, very tangible monetary.
I think just regular companies. Why expand your thing, man?
But you want to be able to talk freely about God, though. You want.
Well, my
that's your
message isn't. It's not
He
about God per
it,
se.
though. Right.
I definitely take the biblical principles. I certainly believe in God, but you don't have to believe in God to appreciate these principles.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about, Doug. Yes.
Yeah.
Dr. Doug Hamp. You guys. So we really need to get him out there and get him in front of some audience. And I'm gonna be perfectly honest with you. This is a message that needs to be rewarded. So you should be willing to make sure that you're willing to pay this guy
Yes.
to do this stuff, right? Yeah, because this trap I fell into, just talking to everyone I just love everybody, but these are my giftings, and I want to get something from it.
What he's saying is you need to be paid
Oh,
to do
thank
it.
you.
Exactly.
Don't get lost in the.
Yeah.
The shuffle of not
Right.
getting a check that don't bounce.
Yes. He's saying it from experience.
Yes.
So.
Right.
Right. Yes.
Yeah. Say so. What is your messaging when they get Stacy Pederson? What predominant message are you bringing to the masses?
So we kind of speak on the same thing. So my most popular keynote is Dying to Laugh, How to Be Happy When Life is a Mess. And so I give some science-backed things that are also proven in the Bible of what gives you a higher quality of life. So it is kind of the same thing with the burnout and employee engagement. So that's how I market it. But the real goal for me is just to bring hope. I just feel like we're in a time where people are really struggling. And I know for me, and we've had this conversation, that one thing that I think as Christians in a church is we take for granted that we get a positive message every week when most people in the world don't. And so they're not used to hearing positive things and that, and give them that. So that is my goal, is to give them hope and grace and a safe space to know that if I can do it, because I'm nobody special, if I can get through some of the things that I've been through, I'm no better than they are, so they can definitely do it.
Yeah, you're not better, but you're special.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm just
Yeah,
kidding.
I'm just saying. Yeah, don't push back. Okay. I can do this all day.
Yes.
That is so amazing. I love asking people this, Lisa, because it really kind of gets to the heart of things. Stacy, our Robert Frost quote, and I know you both know this one, says, I should be telling this with a sigh. Somewhere ages and ages hence, two roads diverged in the wood, and I took the one less traveled by, and this has made all the difference. What is your road less traveled?
That is one of my favorite poems, by the way. I just love Robert Frost. My road less traveled, I think just from the get-go it's been the greatest gift and the greatest challenge to choose to live a life that I definitely did not do well as the suburban wife. It wasn't anything that I wanted. In the sense of that just being my only goal. I wanted to make a difference in this world from the get-go. And also being an artist and not, I think a lot of artists struggle with mental health issues and not being able to fit in the 9-to-5 society. And so I feel like my whole journey has been sometimes just, I feel alone because it is so less traveled. However, what I've discovered along the way is when I share that it's absolutely you're never alone. There are so many people who feel the same way. And so I think many of us feel sometimes lost and we're the only ones on that path, but we're not. And I think the greatest thing for us to do is to be leaders for the people who are walking that path behind us and to be encouragers to the people who are before us.
That was so good.
Oh my gosh.
I should be a speaker. Huh?
Yes.
Yeah, you might want to try that out. See how that works for you. Right?
I feel inspired.
That is inspiring. It is. So you are, life, we live in a place where I'm reading a book right now that talks about the victim mentality and how people really kind of buy into that in culture these days. Doug, how do you transcend the victim mentality? How do you spiral up, flourish, and evolve, given that this is a prevalent and a dominant theme in our environment today?
Oh, that's a great question. Yeah, the victim mentality it's out there. It's a real problem, obviously, and I've kind of thought about that. Like, why do we gravitate that? And because it's easier to be the victim. We don't have to take responsibility. Ultimately, I can blame someone else for my problems, and there's something kind of sexy about that. It's kind of nice. I don't have to. It's not my fault. It's my parents' fault or my 6th grade math teacher's fault or whatever. But it takes courage. It takes courage to say, okay, this is what I got in life, all right? Wasn't born with a silver spoon in my mouth, but I'm going to be responsible for me, right? And I see this a lot in church and religious circles, that it's fun to point the finger, right? I mean, our church would be perfect if it weren't for so-and-so.
Right, exactly.
And I'm like, no, it wouldn't be perfect if, well, of course, there just isn't, right? The moment that I show up in a church, it's not perfect.
Not perfect anymore.
Right?
Yeah.
And it's weird because we always want to think, well, it's that group over there. And so it's weird. I mean, of course, we see this in politics a lot, that this tribal mentality, right? And I actually talk about this. This is weird about oxytocin, is that it has this dark side that oxytocin can make us really inclusive of the people that are part of our group, but very hostile toward people that are outside of our group.
Must be a lot of oxytocin.
Oh my goodness! Oh yeah, isn't it wild? But I guess fear. We were talking about this on the way as we were coming here today about fear. That fear keeps us in these bad places, and so I don't have to take responsibility. I don't have to look at my own life. If I can just blame all the other people, and I can feel kind of decent about myself. I mean, I feel bad, but at least I know that it's not my fault when I'm a victim.
Yes.
All right, and to not be a victim, I have to crawl out of that hole of fear and say, okay, I'm going to make a difference, and I'm going to take responsibility. And I don't think we're all victims in every area of our lives, but in some areas we just love to be there. I mean, I can think of like 10 people right off the top of my head that love to be in that victim place. And I've been there too, all truth be told. All right, and you kind of have to pull yourself out, like, get out of this mentality, And there's some days I'm like, oh, poor me. And I'm like, wait, don't do this, right? Don't stay there. But it takes courage.
It does.
It does. Yeah.
And wisdom too, though. I mean, you have to really unpack why you're doing what you're doing as a victim, to be a victim thinker.
Yes.
To get out of the victim mentality.
It's true.
So you gotta. Not everyone knows that.
Right.
They don't know how. That's all they've known.
That's true. Yeah. And we're creatures of nurture and nature, right? So actually, some of it gets passed on epigenetically. If your parents were victim mentality people, you're more likely.
Epigenetically, what in the world? You know, I wasn't gonna let you get away with that.
The doctor said it, so therefore it is.
What in the world does that mean?
Well, so, of course we have, DNA and genes and chromosomes, but on top of our genes, there are little codes that get passed on from one generation to the next, it's not actually in your code, but it's learned and acquired traits. Okay, so the child of rocket scientists is more likely to be a rocket scientist.
Yes.
But the child of alcoholics is more likely to be an alcoholic as well. So, it's both good and bad, right?
Yeah.
We get the good qualities and the bad qualities, right? And then, of course, those things are also fostered in the home as well, right? So, they've done studies on fruit flies, and they found that, 13 generations later, whatever mom and dad had, they're more likely to have this and stuff. And so these are things that get passed on. And that's what's so crazy. In fact, there's a passage in the Bible where God says, that I don't just let sin go, but to the third and fourth generation.
Yep.
And I was like, man, he's kind of mean, like he's kind of, I'm gonna punish you and you and you, right?
Yeah.
And you're
All the
like,
way down.
but what I realized is like, no, I think he's actually limiting it.
He is.
So whatever that trait is, it stops at generation 3 or 4. I
Yes.
was like, oh my goodness.
Man,
It
what
was
a
like,
positive spin
Yes.
on that, man. That's really cool because everyone almost uses the negative
Yes.
yeah.
there. Yeah.
But it's
But
like God's
wait.
like, I'm putting a stopgap. We're stopping here at third
Yeah.
and fourth generation.
Okay, so what's your take on you can still break the generational curse though and stop it too?
Well, if a
Doesn't have to
generation
trickle down
occurs,
to 3.
see, I really do believe that pretty much all theology should be explainable in the real world.
Yeah.
Okay, and I think we leave it up there in sort of
Right.
the ivory tower.
Yeah.
the ivory tower
Exactly,
and
yeah.
the ether way too long.
Yeah.
And so I guess my road less traveled would be like, how do I actually translate this into real world stuff?
Yes.
And because again, I do think, man, is this just theological pie in the sky, right? Or is there a real world basis for this? And I think just about everything God is telling us is because He loves us and cares about us, and He wants us to be healthy, healthy physically, healthy spiritually, healthy emotionally. And when we do certain actions or don't do actions, it leads to some kind of death, disease, despair, right, and destruction ultimately. And He doesn't want that.
Well,
And
this is so rich, Doug.
It is.
I mean, you're not a typical theologian, dude.
No.
Because,
gift.
Thank you.
I like to think that I know a lot about the Bible as well, because I'm very interested in it, right? I have hundreds, thousands of books that talk about it and etc. But to make it practical, and you have a heart to really want to make it practical. And it seems like most theologians are soothing their insecurity. Right? By being the smartest person in the room.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
Yeah, so thank you for having a heart like that, man.
Well,
For
thank you.
seeing that it really
awesome.
does matter in today's living.
Thank you. Yeah.
Because if people understand it, they will apply it.
Yeah. And it's not just like God's some big
Yeah,
cosmic
depending on who it
killjoy
is.
and He's just like, I said not to do that, but He's like, the reason I don't want you to do that because it hurts you. So there was some years ago when my son, he was probably 7 or 8, 9, he was old enough to use a kitchen knife, okay, but for whatever reason, we were eating steak and he like cut himself, and it was weird. I had this like flash. I was angry, and I'm like, I look back, I'm like, why was I angry? And I was angry because I was zealous for him. I was zealous. Now, thankfully, nothing bad happened, right? But he cut his hand really bad. It all healed. But I was angry that he hurt himself. And, instead of like, oh, you poor thing, I was like, why did you do that? Because I want him to keep his hand. I don't want him to lose a limb.
Right.
And I realized, our Heavenly Father is kind of the same way, that He gets a little bit, don't do that. Like, I want the best for you.
Yeah.
And when you take a spiritual knife to yourself and start cutting, well, guess what?
Yeah.
It doesn't end well.
Yes.
It's painful. It can all be fixed eventually, but
Yeah.
you're going to deal with those things in the here and now. And He would like to spare us from those things.
Yes.
And so when I do certain behaviors, those can then be passed on to my progeny epigenetically. I can pass on those qualities, and then it's either, if they're good or bad. If they're bad, assuming for a second, then it's harder for my kids to overcome those things, right? Of course, we all have those things, but the good news is that we can overcome those, and it's really exciting. And eventually, whether it's a generational curse, we just think of it in these terms of epigenetics, right? Because I actually realized that going back about 3 or 4 generations, like my father had some issues, and then his father had issues, and then his father before him. And I'm like, oh, wow, I'm the 4th generation. I'm breaking that, and I got really excited about that. I'm like, wow, it's no longer happening because that has been broken with me. Not that I'm special. It's just that, it's kind of run its course.
You're on the Be Encouraged show with Frank, and you're special.
Well, I'm not better than people. Is what I'm
Nah, not bad. Yeah. You know, one question, because we're winding down, because we could talk to you guys all day, but this is more fun than 4 people should be allowed to have.
That's true.
Right?
We live for Mondays. We really do.
Because I think this would be really helpful for some folk in our audience, and you as well, Stacy. Both of us, all 3 of us, in ministry and divorce. How has that played out for you?
Ooh, yeah. You know, I finally got to the place where I realized that it's better to let go of something that isn't working, because you can become very bitter, you know, and you meet the people, they're like, oh, they're celebrating their 50th anniversary. Yeah, but they want to kill each other, you know, and sometimes they do, right? And, you know, did I just say that out loud? Yeah, I know. But it's true, you know? Yeah. I mean, I heard about a guy, they're like in their 70s, and like he accidentally ran over his wife, but then he backed up and then he went forward again. And I'm like, that wasn't an accident, dude. Look, divorce is hard. Divorce is painful.
Hard. Yeah.
It's like cutting out your heart, okay? But I also think that, you know, I think we need to come to terms with, you know, we're people, you know, and just because you're in ministry, you're not any better than anybody else.
That's right.
We all have the same problems, we have the same pain, we have the same disappointments, we have the same, you know, hang-ups, you know, and of course, it always takes 2 to tango, right?
Yes.
So it's rarely that it's only one person's.
Absolutely.
And I do believe that I think the church, I think we need to be more open about this. We need to just come to terms with it. I look deep into the theology, right, before the divorce, because I'm like, is it that you can never, ever, ever get divorced? I'm like, well, actually, it says you can. So he's like, look, you can do it. I don't encourage it.
Yes.
Okay? Yeah. You can do it, but I don't encourage it. Yeah. So the ideal is, get married, stay together, you know, live all your days together. But look, if you're thinking about, you know, divorce or murder, do divorce, okay?
Oh my gosh.
Right? If those are your 2 options, look, I've watched 48 Hours, and I'm like, just get divorced, you guys. Just get divorced. It's not worth it, you know? And then they always start off, they were the perfect couple. I'm like, yeah, until like just.
I don't know if I want to drive back with you. We talked about knives and murder.
Ladies, we've introduced you to Dr. Pastor Douglas Hill. Hamp. Let me hear your take a little bit on that.
My biggest struggle that I have had is guilt and being in shame, like you somehow didn't do enough. But I am at a place now where I'm like, God set me free.
Amen.
He set me free, and I'm so thankful. I could never do what I'm doing now had he not, if I was in that same dark space that I was in.
I went through a lot of that, the guilt, shame, and things. You know how I alleviate it? Look at a picture of my ex-wife.
That's one method.
You're like, woo!
Yeah, I ain't got no pain, no shame.
You don't have like voodoo dolls or anything. The voodoo doll helps too.
He's good with his ex-wife, though. They're friends.
Yeah, we're friends. Yeah.
He's healed a lot.
That's good. That's good.
I'm proud of you, how
Thank you.
healed you are.
Yeah, I am. I'm very healed. I'm like you, free. Hallelujah. You know, it wasn't God's best, but it was God's allowable.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So ask them this question so we can wrap
All
up
right.
here.
Well, we'll start with you, Doug, since I'm assuming he's the panel host.
He's a panel host.
Yes, you're the panel host. So as you know, we're all about infusing hope and encouragement to the world. We would like you to look at the camera and do just that. Encourage them, and then let them know how to reach you.
Okay. Well, you know, God really does have a purpose for your life. And I know that sometimes, I mean, I struggle with this as well. So, you know, like, God, why aren't you doing such and such faster? And can you really use me? And I've discovered his incredible grace, his mercy, his love, his patience with me. I mean, God is so much bigger than that little box I kept trying to stuff him in. And even if you don't even believe in God, I just want you to know that you were made with a purpose, and there is something wonderful that you can do and that you were designed for. And so, I'm here to share that, don't worry, be a happy leader. That is something I want to share with people. And sometimes when we just understand a little bit of the chemistry in our brains, we're like, oh, that's why I did that. And so you can reach me at doughamp@gmail.com. That's probably the easiest way to get a hold of me. I'm also on LinkedIn, so if you want to check me out there, so Doug Hamp, that's Hamp.
All right, thank you, Dr. Hamp. Stacy.
Have performance anxiety. I will share this. I will share I feel it's the most valuable lesson that I learned from almost dying and everything I overcame is that your pain is priceless. And this is what I mean by that. When something bad happens to us that's painful, a lot of times it's something that's taken from us without our permission. It could be our innocence, it could be a relationship, our health, our finances, our sense of security. It was taken from us, and that thing was priceless. And it's natural for us as humans to then do this, or to, that fight or flight, to hang on to it. And we were talking about the victim mentality. And the first thing that I realized for myself was that a lot of people were like, well, just have faith. It's just a season, get through it. But you actually need to grieve that loss in order to be healthy. And if you're struggling, it's because you're a human and it's normal. You should.
Yes.
But at some point, you have to make a decision of what are you going to do about it. And so with that, I chose to try and give my pain away. And what I mean by that is by just doing the work, struggling to try and, do therapy and make a difference and giving that pain away, and in return my pain has become priceless because of the value and the gifts and the life that I have now that I would never have had I not been through what I went through. And I'm all over social media, and StacyPederson.com, PED as in David, ERSON, is my website.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you both.
Wow, this is
We
great.
really appreciate that. Before we wrap up today, we need to spotlight a couple of our sponsors once more because they make these things possible. WestCo Insurance and the great Karen Butcher. She loves helping people save and get the very best service ever. Contact her through our website at beencouraged.net, or you can go to WestCo Insurance and you can get Karen there as well. And Planet Duck, Brandon Kirk and his team offer astronomical air duct cleaning with the most powerful vacuum trucks in Colorado. They are stronger than the vacuum of space.
So more and more people are seeing the benefits of a sponsorship with us. We're now up to 25 sponsors within 14 months. So visit us at beencouraged.net to become a sponsor and get your business name out there to our growing audience. Our platinum sponsor has seen an aggressive 900% growth in their business in just 7 months. So like and follow us on Facebook and LinkedIn to join us on our journey to extend hope and encouragement and help people realize their potential through networking, collaboration, and community involvement. And remember, if you want to join us internationally, go to our website and select International via Instagram to join us live from anywhere in the world.
Anywhere in the world, as always, it's great working with you.
It's been a pleasure, Frank.
Indeed. The amazing Dr. Douglas Hamp.
Yes.
And the lovely Stacy Pederson was here with us today on show number 2 of the Be Encouraged show with Frank and Lisa. Follow us and consider helping us, and let us help you in the mission to infuse hope and encouragement around the world. We'll see you next Monday.